Today I'm going to be reviewing a sword from the all-new production line from Darksword Armory. We heard earlier this year that they were making big changes in both their production techniques and materials and things. This is one of the first that I've seen of these swords, and I'm really quite impressed with it. For years, Darksword Armory has been making really nice swords and blades, really well constructed. They used 1060 steel, hardened to, I believe, 53 Rockwell. Always a good, solid sword. I've always been a fan. Their new production of swords, however, have really raised the bar. This new sword is now 5160 steel. Basically a spring steel. This is now dual tempered. They're doing to their swords. It's they call a differential heat treat. I think it's around 48 or 50 Rockwell at the core and as high as 60 on the edge. So you have a good hard edge that'll take a really good edge, and flexible and strong enough that it won't break. Another big change, which is probably the most significant thing, is the profile of the blade itself. Generally, Darksword Armory, a lot of their swords came with a secondary bevel, which is to say that as the blade came down towards the edge, where it was sharpened was angled more, as if it had been ground along the edge. That's pretty common with a lot of sword manufacturers. I know Handway, a lot of their products have that same secondary bevel. But premium swords, getting up into the handmade stuff and the really well-made stuff, never had a secondary bevel. And now Darksword Armory does not have a secondary bevel either. This is beautifully polished down to the edge, and it's nice and sharp with no secondary bevel, and it's got a beautiful polish on it right down to the edge. This is a really beautiful sword. As with all Darksword Armory products that I've reviewed before, this has a full tang, peened. I think these are all threaded pommels and then peened down on the end and smoothed out. This is really beautifully done. They have a wood core handle around the full steel tang, and then that is cord wrapped and leather wrapped and stitched. That's another thing I've always liked about the Darksword Armory swords, was that stitching in the handle, and the leather of the handle. It will never come unraveled or loosen. Mild steel, I believe, the guard and pommel. Like all swords from Darksword Armory, it's available with the scabbard. This is a wood core scabbard, leather covered and nicely stitched. They've always made good quality scabbards. A steel chape on the end. They're also available with the interlaced belt. Very nice belt. You can order it with the belt system on the scabbard like that. Here's a little flex test to show you how good this blade is. I have the old version of the 1060 version of the Crusader sword, which has always been one of my favorite swords. I just love this sword. Now, the new version with the 5160 steel is a whole new ball game. It feels like a whole different sword. The blade is a little longer and narrower, but the point of balance is brought back about 1.5 inches from about 6 inches on the old version to only 4.5 on this, and the weight difference, the balance difference is totally different. I can't wait to get out and try a bit of light cutting with this, because it just feels like something I've never seen before from Darksword Armory. due to my lack of recent practice at cutting, and because of my arthritic hand is just starting to get a little better, I once again hit my wooden cutting stand with a sword during a review. But once again, this is a good sword. There's absolutely no damage to it. In fact, after that little bit of light cutting, I can't even see any scuffing or anything on the blade from the jugs and bottles. I mean, there you have it. 5160 steel, new production line from Darksword Armory. All their medieval swords like this are going to be made with this 5160 steel, the new blade designs, and bigger production batches, so we'll be seeing less waiting time. And here's a few pictures for you too.